Hello everyone and welcome back to lecture series on automobile engineering. Continuing our discussion with the last lecture, today we'll discuss about the other types of manual transmission, that is constant mesh gearbox and synchro mesh gearbox. Last time we have discussed about sliding mesh gearbox. In sliding mesh gearbox we have set of gears that are slided left or right to obtain a desired set of gearing ratio. Okay, in that case we have seen that it was important to use spur gears, that are straight teeth spur gears. Okay, so because we want to mesh a rotating gear with a stationary gear, so the teeth of the gear must be straight. Okay, they must be straight cut to mesh them easily. And we have seen that there are certain limitations, like they produce a lot of noise while engagement, disengagement, and they may produce vibrations also. So to remove that obstacle while engaging the gear or to obtain different gear ratios, we used to use constant mesh gearbox and synchro mesh gearbox. So today we'll discuss about this constant mesh gearbox and synchro mesh gearbox. So now we can see this picture will give you clarity about the components of a constant mesh gearbox. So this is the clutch fitted with the engine. Okay, this is our lay shaft that we have seen in last lecture also. There was a counter shaft or lay shaft. Okay, we can see here that in the lay shaft all the gears are directly attached. Okay, these are integral part of the lay shaft. Okay, these gears are the integral part of the lay shaft. Okay, the drive may be transmitted to this lay shaft all the time by using a clutch gear. This gear is clutch gear. Okay, so now to obtain various gear ratios, we can use certain set of gears fitted over the main shaft. So this is our main shaft or output shaft. Okay, it's the output shaft. Okay, so to engage the first gear, we can see here the size of the first gear fitted over the main shaft through which the drive will be transmitted is large as compared to the gear fitted on the lay shaft. Okay, so when this gear will be engaged like this, then this will transmit the power or torque. The torque will be maximum, keeping the speed less to a lesser value, right? So to engage the second gear, the gear smaller to this first gear, that is this one, second gear is meshed with the gear fitted on the counter shaft. Third gear is more smaller than the first and second gear. Okay, and similarly the fourth gear is further smaller to obtain a different gear ratio, and fifth gear is the smallest gear over the output shaft or main shaft. So what is the difference here as compared to the sliding mesh gearbox? Okay, as we can see that the gears fitted on the counter shaft and on the main shaft are always in contact with each other. Okay, they are in mesh with each other all the time. There is no need to slide the gear fitted on the main shaft to left or right. Okay, the gears are not to be slided left or right to create a mesh between the gears fitted over the counter shaft and main shaft. So this will give a benefit, because here we can see that it is not compulsory that we must engrave straight spur gear. These teeth are basically helical gear tooths. Okay, so it is not compulsory to use a straight spur gear because they are always in mesh. Then it means that how to transmit the power to the output shaft. Although these gears fitted over the main shaft are always in mesh with each other with the counter shaft's gear, but the power will only be transmitted to the main shaft or output shaft once this dog sleeve or dog gear is attached to the particular gear. Okay, for example, this dog sleeve, say one dog sleeve is that one, this is another dog sleeve, and this is third dog sleeve. So this dog sleeve can be slided left or right. So in case of sliding mesh gearbox, we were sliding the gear itself. Here we'll slide only the dog sleeves to left or right to engage a particular set of gear. Okay, so to obtain this, what is happening on the main shaft, it is splined, the main shaft is splined or the output shaft is splined. Okay, and these dog gears are also internally splined, they have internal splines. So these dog sleeves are fitted over the splines of the output shaft. Okay, so whenever the dog sleeve rotates, the output shaft will also rotate, and all gears fitted on the output shaft are floated over a bearing. So this is not directly fitted over the main shaft or output shaft, but rather the gears are fitted over the bearings. Okay, bearings are used. It means that when the power is being transmitted from the engine to the clutch gear and to the counter shaft, at all the times all gears will be rotating. Okay, because they are in constant mesh with each other, but the power will be only transmitted to the output shaft once we engage the dog sleeve with that particular gear. So in that case of constant mesh gearbox, the dog sleeve will be moved left or right to obtain a particular set of gearing reduction or ratio, right? So we can see here, to get the speed of first gear in which the torque will be more and the speed will be less, what we'll do, we'll move this sleeve marked as yellow color to the left side. Okay, to left side. So what will happen when this sleeve is moved to left side? This dog gear is having the internal splines as I have told, and the output shaft has external splines. So this is spline shaft basically. So when we move the dog gear to the left, this gear, this smaller gear, is engaged with the tooths of the dog gear. Okay, so what will happen when this moves to this side? The entire system goes on rotating. The speed of the first gear will be transmitted to the main shaft via this dog gear. Okay, when it is slided left. When we slide the same dog gear to the right side, what will happen? This dog gear will be engaged with the second gear. Okay, this will be engaged with second gear. So what will happen? The speed of the second gear will be transmitted to the dog gear, and dog gear is coupled with the output shaft. So the same speed will be transmitted to the output shaft, and hence we can say that second gear is obtained or achieved. Okay, speed of the second gear is being attained. So now we'll bring it back to the neutral position, and now we'll move this particular dog gear using a selector fork, and this selector fork is basically controlled by the selector lever, and that lever is pushed or pulled by the driver. So when this dog gear is moved to left, then the speed of the third gear will be obtained. So the power will be transmitted from the clutch to the this gear, and this will transmit to third gear to dog sleeve to the output shaft, and then we'll obtain output shaft's speed as desired by the gear ratio of the third gear. When this dog gear is moved to right side and engages with the this fourth gear, then the drive will be transmitted from clutch to the clutch shaft or counter shaft, then to the fourth gear, then to the dog sleeve, and then to the output shaft. So this is the sequence of transfer of power from the clutch to the output shaft by using fourth gear. So the dog gear is playing the main role of power transmission here in case of constant mesh gearbox, right? Now if we want to engage the fifth gear, what we'll do, we'll move this dog sleeve, third dog sleeve, to the left side. So this will be engaged. So the power will be now transmitted from the clutch gear counter shaft to the fifth gear to the this third number dog gear, and through this it will be transmitted to the output shaft. So in that case we have seen that the gears are in constant mesh with each other, but the power will only be transmitted once we use the dog gear using a selector fork, when we slide the dog gear to the left or to the right as per our requirement, speed requirement. So we might have seen that while climbing a gradient or while moving over a flyover, we need to have more torque and less speed. So because the load on the vehicle due to gradient is more. Okay. So in that case, we want to shift to first gear. So in order to obtain the first gear, we have to move the dog gear fitted over here to the left side. When we climb over the flywheel and we reach to a plain road, then we need the speed of second gear. So the same dog sleeve or dog gear will be moved to the right side by using a selector fork and lever assembly, and the second gear will be engaged. So in that case the torque will be less as compared to first gear, but the speed will be more. Okay, now we want to move further at higher speed. Okay, then what we'll do, we'll disengage the second gear and dog gear with each other. This dog gear will be bring or brought back to its neutral position. Then we'll use the selector fork, selector lever, and operate this particular dog gear. When this dog gear is moved to the left, that will turn third number gear. When it is moved to the right, that will turn fourth gear. Okay, and when we want to move at very high speed, we want to shift to fifth gear. Okay, so in order to shift to fifth gear, we have to again operate the selector fork such that this dog gear is engaged. When this dog gear is moved to left, this will engage the fifth gear with the main shaft, and the output will be transmitted from the clutch to the fifth gear to the main shaft using this dog gear. So in this phenomena, we can see that due to constant meshing of the counter shaft gears with the main shaft gears, there is no any requirement of shifting the gears to obtain any particular gear ratio. In that case, we are only moving the dog sleeves. So the wear and tear of the gears or the set of gears will be less as compared to the sliding mesh gearbox. Here we can use gears like helical gears, the teeth like helical gear tooth, or we can use herringbone gears and obtain various gear ratios. So these are quieter in operation because they are in always constant mesh with each other. There is no need to mesh the gears again and again as in the case of sliding mesh gearbox. So these are advantages as compared to constant mesh gearbox. So we'll summarize here about the constant mesh gearbox. The basic advantages of constant mesh gearbox is helical or herringbone gears, or that is double helical gear, can be used in these gearboxes, and therefore constant mesh gearboxes are quieter in operation. They perform their operation with less noise, right? We don't have to move the gears, rather we have to move only the dog gear. Synchronizing device can be easily incorporated. In our next lecture, we will study about the synchromesh gearbox, and then we'll see how these synchronizer units are working basically. Since the gears are engaged by dog clutches, if any damage occurs while engaging the gears, the dog unit members get damaged and not the gear wheels. So this saves the additional cost that is incorporated with change of the gear. Okay, gears changing is more costly as compared to changing the dog gear only. Okay, so dog sleeves or dog gears may be changed easily with lesser cost. So this is an advantage. Okay, by suitably designing the dog sleeve or dog clutch, the gear changing can be made easier. Okay, damage to the dog clutch is less likely because all the teeth are engaged at a time. Okay, so these are the benefits of the constant mesh gearbox over the sliding mesh gearbox. So in most of the cars you will find this constant mesh gearbox principle, and rather in high speed cars we use a synchronizer unit that is incorporated for easily engagement of the gears with the dog gear. Okay, so we'll discuss about this synchromesh gearbox in our next lecture, and we'll see how this particular device aids the engagement and disengagement of the gears